Welcome back. I am here with head coach of the Traders Point Christian Knights, Sam Carnes. And first of all, Coach, want to look back on last week's game against Clinton Prairie. Gabe Sink, first game as a quarterback. He only had thrown 54 passes prior. Gets an opportunity to get started at quarterback and has a pretty solid game. The only kind of blip on that radar was 3 interceptions, although you can really classify one kind of as a punt because it was on 4th down.
Absolutely.
That
was one of the best passes of the day. That's a 50-yard punt.
Right. But what do you want to see from him as far as, him maturing as a quarterback in week 2?
Sure. I think anytime you see a kid starting his first game, you're going to see opportunities to throw the ball where maybe he hesitates a little bit. Routes and timing just aren't quite right. And you don't get to work through that until you compete for the first time. So some of those mistakes that we saw Gabe make are mistakes we could have ironed out in June, mistakes that we could have ironed out in a scrimmage in July, mistakes we would have liked to have ironed out in a scrimmage before week 1. I don't think it surprised us that kids made mistakes. We told them you're going to make a lot of mistakes. And so that wasn't a surprise. I thought Gabe played great. I've been told over and over again that he's a gamer, so that didn't surprise me. But what was really good for me was to see him and the other kids kind of overcome that adversity and say, okay, yeah, I made a mistake, but it's time to move on to the next play. I love that. So.
Now, another big performer on Saturday was Eli Underwood. And I don't have a specific question for you, but I just want you basically to react. Tell me what your thoughts were from week 1 and what he was able to do.
You never know how everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, right?
Right.
And you never know how a kid's going to react to getting punched in the mouth. And Eli's a pretty important piece for us on both sides of the ball. So, it was like, okay, for us to have a good day, Eli's got to have a good day. And Eli had a great day. Eli played very well on defense, as well as, obviously you get to see the long touchdown runs on offense, and that stands out. But I thought he played better on defense. So I was very happy with Eli, and I was very happy with the lanes that the offensive line created. I mean, we've got 2 guards that combined weigh the same weight as some other people's, individual starting linemen. And so to get some movement and create lanes, some of the cuts that he was able to make, and some of the holes in the movement up front we were able to get, I was very happy with that.
Now you talk about the defense. One real quick before I let you go. The defense stepped up in a big way in the second half. They were able to get that, interception at the end of the game, and they, considering the fact that also Clinton Prairie started 3 of their possessions in the second half on Traders' side of the field. They played really well, and now you're going up against the Park Tudor team, against that same Clinton Prairie team that, they won in week 1, 59-21. So what do you want to see? What have you seen out of the defense, and what do you want to see out of them in week 2? What can we look for?
Yeah, so I would say the thing that I was very proud about that you already touched on was the way we responded to adversity. Other than their first touchdown when we threw an interception inside the 20, and they were inside scoring territory right away, I felt like we kind of hung our head. Their last touchdown, I feel like we were kind of like, oh, man, this really stinks, and feeling sorry for ourselves, and not playing hard and not doing our jobs and going through the motions. Other than those 2 drives, I thought we handled it. I thought we handled the momentum of the game very well. Matthew Maxey, that was his first game, if you don't know. Unbelievable first game for that kid. But he gets a pass interference call, and the guy said, it is football. It's football. Bad things are going to happen. They end up scoring on that drive, and that was 2 pretty quick scores. I mean, they scored on play 110 and 118. So, they score 3 and out, they score again, and it's starting to feel like, holy cow, when is this going to stop? We had to punt again, and the defense came up with a huge stop. And we moved the ball a little bit, punted again. Defense got another big stop. Offense, and then it was the offense's turn. And my brother, who calls the offense, he kind of looked at him on the sideline and said, hey, if you want to win this game, you get a first down. If you want it more than they do, get a first down. And they did. And we were very, not being in shape, not having participated in a competition since, well, for most of these kids, their whole life. A lot of these kids, that was their first game playing high school football. But most, if they played before, they hadn't played against another team in 9 months. So to respond that way is incredible. Park Tudor, as far as that goes, they scored on a lot of big plays. They've got great receivers, tall kids, fast kids, and they were able to get a lot of big plays on Clinton Prairie and made some big plays on Heritage Christian as well. So we've got to eliminate the big plays from their big receivers. Quarterback's got a good arm, can run the ball well. They kind of run a triple option out of orbit motion, and we've got to stop that. Got to make sure we've got all the ball carriers secured. And we've got another big offensive lineman to play against, 72 from Clinton Prairie. I played against some guys in college who were smaller than that. And so our 120-pound guards get to go against another big dude. They've actually got 2 of them over at Park Tudor. But our kids are excited for the opportunity. We say all the time as coaches, the biggest growth you see is from week 1 to week 2. And, this is our week 2. And so we're excited to show how much we've grown and excited to get the opportunity, this year. We're just excited to get to be on the field, excited to compete, and grateful for the opportunity.
Well, Coach, we're excited to get football back at Witham Field. Home opener, really excited about that as well. So we'll let you go, but best of luck tonight.
Thanks. Go Knights.